Hello, my friends. Good evening. This is Tosif starting a live stream. It's quite late in the day, obviously. It's 11:32 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone. And my friends, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I very often do live streams really late in the evening or sometimes really early in the morning. So maybe right after midnight. So I'm starting this live stream. There's an important topic that I want to discuss. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in our country, and there are probably like three or four topics that I want to talk about. But I really want to focus on one for today, one, and then we'll have open discussion about other things you want to talk about. But there's something major that's happening that I think we need to discuss, which is why I'm doing this. So I see Ken is here. Hello, Ken. Good to see you. Frank is here. Frank, wonderful to see you always. We got Kay Cooper. So we have Ken, Frank, Kay, and others who will be tuning in. So my friends, let me go into the discussion. And as always, I want to hear your thoughts as we move forward. So if you have questions, if you have comments, feel free to share that, okay? So if I tell you that there's a civil war that's brewing, what are you going to say? A civil war within the Democrat Party. If I tell you, and I'm telling you that there's a civil war that's brewing within the Democrat Party. You heard that correctly. You did. Yes, I did say Democrat Party, a civil war within the Democrat Party. Exactly. The Democrats are divided. So divided that I can't explain to you the intensity of the divisions. There's a war brewing involving the different factions within the Democrat Party. Now, some of you, I don't know if you're confused or not. It's okay to be confused. If you feel confused, that's fine. It's all right. You may be asking me, Tosif, what exactly are you talking about? You're talking about the Democrat Party, and then you're talking about divisions within the party. You're talking about a civil war brewing within the Democrat Party. What are you trying to say, Tosif? We always thought that the Democrats are all united. They listen to the party elites. Whatever the elites will tell the Democrats, that's what they do. Everyone acts together, and the party machine makes all the decisions, and everyone's on board with whatever decisions are made. And now you're talking about factions within the Democrat Party. Now you're talking about civil war brewing within the Democrat Party. What exactly are you trying to say, Tosif? My friends, if you have all those questions, trust me, it's okay. It's fair. Ask me questions. It's okay to be confused because it is a confusing situation, but one that needs to be analyzed. My friends, I'll explain it to you. You'll soon understand why I am saying what I'm saying. I'm sure that many of you know this already. Some of you may be saying, Tosif, we know exactly what you're talking about. You don't need to explain it. Well, I will explain it anyway, my friends, because we got a lot of people tuning in to watch this live stream. So for everyone, I'm gonna explain it. So within the Democrat Party, there are different interests. There are different groups. There are different factions. There are divisions within the Democrat Party, and these divisions are becoming more and more and more clear, obvious. And now with regard to the government shutdown and with regard to the prospect of reopening the federal government, we can see how divided the Democrats really are. No matter how much they try to portray unity, the divisions are now becoming very, very obvious. And I'm going to go into the details here. So stay with me. Stay with me. I'm going to go into the details here. My friends, we can now be hopeful. Now, let me share with you the good news. We can now be hopeful that the government shutdown will soon be over. That's right. Major developments taking place as we speak. We can now hope that the government will soon reopen. The United States Senate has voted on a bill to end the government shutdown. Now the bill heads to the United States House of Representatives. So the House has to vote on that bill too. The one that the Senate voted on. And yes, we did get 60 votes in the United States Senate. Now this version of the bill is going back to the House. And I'm seeing reports that the United States House of Representatives will likely vote on this on Wednesday. So we are already almost into Tuesday. My friends in the Eastern time zone, you're already into Tuesday. And this bill is likely. Now, I don't want to guarantee anything. In politics, in government, you can't guarantee stuff. So I'm not saying most certainly the bill will be voted on Wednesday in the House. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's likely. And then we'll see what happens. So, I'm seeing reports that the United States House of Representatives will vote on this bill on Wednesday. My friends, after 41 days, finally it seems that things are going to go back to normal. We can finally hope that the shutdown will end. Of course, it's not immediate. Don't expect the government to open up tomorrow morning, or Wednesday first thing in the morning. No, it's things take time. The business of government has to go through steps. There are steps involved. It takes time. There are procedures that have to be followed. So it's not immediate. But like I said, the House is likely to vote on this in a couple of days on Wednesday, hopefully. And now here's the part that you need to focus on. How did the bill to reopen the government pass the Senate? I mean, we saw how the Democrats, for well over a month, how the Democrats were just, creating barriers and not cooperating, and they shut down the government for well over a month. People are suffering. And so how is it that finally a bill to reopen the government was approved by the Senate? Well, my friends, some members of the Democrat caucus decided to vote yes. That's right. Some members of the Democrat caucus decided to vote yes. And this is where things get very interesting. This is very interesting. Now, do you know, let me ask you this question. Do you know who the Democrats are? Or I should say, who are these members of the Democrat caucus? Because there is one person who is technically an independent, not a Democrat, but somebody who is in the Democrat caucus. Do you know the names of the senators? There are 8 of them. 8 of them. Do you know their names? If you do, Let me know. Let me know in the live chat. Just all right. There are 8 senators who voted yes to reopen the government in the Senate. If you can give me one name, I would appreciate that. One name. Give me one name. One name. Somebody is writing Fetterman. Okay. James Russell's writing Kane. All right. Sharice is saying Fetterman. Who else? Steve is saying Fetterman. Okay. Anyone else wants to make a guess? Go ahead. Open discussion here. 8 senators from the Democrat caucus voted yes to reopen the government. I see Kane. James is saying Kane. I see Fetterman. Anyone else other than Kane and Fetterman? Make a guess. Go ahead. Do it. We're actually going to discuss that list, but I want to see if you can guess the names. Go ahead, my friends. Write it in the live chat. Fetterman, Durbin. Okay, Jenner is saying Durbin. All right. So, Fetterman, Durbin, Kane. Who else? Anyone else? James is saying senator from Maine. Exactly. King. That's right. That's right, King. All right. How about we just go through the names. We just go through the names. But you got to understand before Hassan, exactly. Jerry is saying Hassan. Wonderful. Thank you so very much, my friends. Great guesswork. Okay. Or, I should say it's not just a guess. You're paying attention. You're reading the news. You're keeping track of the information. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you keeping track of whatever's going on in Washington. Kay Cooper is saying Masto. Exactly. Let me just say that the far left wing of the Democrat Party is very unhappy with these Democrat senators, including an independent, who voted yes. The far left wanted the government shutdown to continue. The far left wanted the uncertainty to continue. And now the far left is not happy because a group of senators from the Democrat caucus voted with the Republicans to approve a bill to reopen the federal government. Now, let's see who these U.S. senators are. Who are these people who voted alongside the Republicans to help us get to 60 votes in the U.S. Senate? All right, so let's begin, my friends. So we're going to go one by one. And as I go forward, share your thoughts. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. Do you know where she's from? Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. Who can tell me where she's from? I'm going to give you 10 seconds. We're discussing the list of the senators from the Democrat caucus who voted with the Republicans to approve a bill to reopen the federal government. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, she's from Nevada, and she voted yes on the bill to reopen the government. And we're happy that she did that. We're happy that finally we got 60 votes, including Republicans, Democrats, and also an independent. 60 votes. So we're going to go through the names of the 8 senators from the Democrat caucus who voted yes, and we're happy they voted yes. We're happy. This is bipartisanship. This is what we want to see. I mean, it happened after a lot of pain and suffering. The government should never have shut down. The government should never have shut down. Okay? This should have happened back in September. We should have gotten 60 votes to fund the government, to avoid a shutdown back in September. So it's been 41 days, but I'm glad that finally we have a list of senators from the Democrat caucus who realized the harm that was taking place because of the government shutdown. And finally, these senators from the Democrat caucus helped us get to 60 votes to approve a bill to reopen the government. So let's go through the list. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. Where is she from? She's from Nevada. Voted yes on the bill to reopen the federal government. And then we have Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois. Anyone from Illinois here? Please tell me if you are from Illinois. Tell me if you're from Illinois. Anyone here from Illinois? Hey, Illinois is right next door. I'm in Wisconsin. Illinois is right next door. I'm sure we got friends from Illinois watching this. All right, my friends. Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois. Now, here's the interesting fact about Senator Dick Durbin. He is not seeking re-election. He has been in politics for many years. He's a very senior Democrat political figure, and he is not seeking re-election. He has decided to retire. And so, I guess he did what he thought would be the best thing to do, which is to vote to reopen the federal government. So Dick Durbin from Illinois, Catherine Cortez Masto from Nevada, both voted to reopen the government. And then John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. Now, my friends, anyone who has been following my channel for, maybe a year, over a year, almost 2 years, you know that I have almost always criticized Senator John Fetterman. You know that, right? Remember, I have criticized him. And I still criticize him. I've criticized him. But you know what? It is always my goal to tell you the truth. It is always my goal to present to you the facts, the correct information, accurate information, and in a timely manner. So my friends, no matter how much I criticized Democrat U.S. Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania in the past, I must appreciate if he does something good for the country. And so in this case, John Fetterman actually has been one of the most loud voices, one of the loudest voices coming from the Democrat side to criticize the Democrats, because he has been saying this for a while now, that we need to reopen the government, that the government needs to be functioning, needs to be operational. The government needs to be funded so that the government can perform its jobs. And so John Fetterman, no matter how much I criticized him in the past, in this case, I gotta say John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, he did a good thing. He did a good thing. He has been saying that the government needs to open up. So he has been criticizing his own party, the Democrat Party, for a while now. So great job, Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. And now let's talk about Senator Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire. She served as the governor of New Hampshire before becoming the U.S. Senator. And by the way, Senator Maggie Hassan was re-elected in 2022, and so she is not up for re-election in 2026 because hold on, because a senatorial term is 6 years. 6 years and not 2 years or 4 years. Okay, the House members have 2 years, so they are up for re-election every 2 years, and in the Senate it's 6 years. So Maggie Hassan, having been re-elected in 2022, she is not up for re-election in 2026. She's got a full 6-year term, and she voted to reopen the government. She did the right thing. Senator Maggie Hassan cooperated with the Republicans. By the way, the Republican Party, the very best, the very best. I am so proud of our Republican leaders. I'm proud of our Republican members of the House. I'm proud of our Republican members of the Senate, the US Senate. They're doing a great job, and I'm finally happy to see a group of Democrat senators cooperating with the Republicans to reopen the government. So Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire did the right thing. And now let's talk about Senator Tim Kaine. Now, you remember Tim Kaine, right? Tim Kaine of Virginia. What is significant about Tim Kaine? Who can tell me? Who knows Tim Kaine's history? You don't have to go back too far. Think about 2016. What comes to mind? Tim Kaine. I'm giving you a clue. 2016. You've heard his name before, right? Tell me. Tim Kaine ran for vice president. Kentucky is saying that exactly, Kentucky. Kentucky has the answer. Kentucky is saying Tim Kaine ran for vice president. Exactly. My friends, you got to all remember this, right? 2016. Go back to 2016. Tim Kaine. He was Hillary Clinton's running mate. 2016, the presidential election when Hillary Clinton was the Democrat nominee for president. And on the other side, on the Republican side, it was Donald J. Trump and Mike Pence as the running mate. So who was Hillary's running mate? It was Tim Kaine. And now Tim Kaine voted with the Republicans to reopen the government. It's wonderful. Evelyn is here. Evelyn, thank you for being here, Evelyn. Our friend Evelyn from Las Vegas, Nevada. And Evelyn, listen. Evelyn, you got to stay here. You got to stay here. I know you will. It's going to be particularly interesting because I'm going to be talking about Nevada. Why? I'll explain in just a little bit. So don't go anywhere, Evelyn. Stay here. All right, everyone, say hi to our friends, Kay Cooper, Evelyn, and so many others, Frank, and there are others. I may have missed mentioning your name, but you know who you are. I appreciate you all. Thank you, my friends. So, the next senator is Angus King. Angus King, he's an independent, but he's in the Democrat caucus. And Senator King voted to reopen the government. By the way, he got reelected in 2024, so he's also not up for reelection anytime soon because, as I mentioned, he has a 6-year term in the Senate. Every senator has a 6-year term. And then Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire also voted to reopen the government. Jeanne Shaheen. And it's very interesting, my friends. If you have been paying attention, I got to point this out to you. It's very interesting that both the U.S. senators, both Democrats from New Hampshire, voted the same way. You got Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire. You got Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire. voted the same way. Both Democrats, but both voted the same way to cooperate with the Republicans to reopen the government. And I must also add that Senator Jeanne Shaheen is not seeking re-election in 2026. Okay, so yeah, that's an interesting fact, right? She's not seeking re-election in 2026, and she voted with the Republicans to reopen the government. And then, who's the other senator? I mentioned Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. I mentioned Senator Dick Durbin, Senator John Fetterman, Senator Maggie Hassan, Senator Tim Kaine, Angus King, Jeanne Shaheen, and who is number 8? Can anyone tell me? 8 senators from the Democrat caucus helped us get to 60 votes to approve the bill to reopen the government. Who is the number 8 senator? Go ahead, tell me. I'm going to wait for this one. Tell me, my friends. Who's number 8? By the way, if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. I would appreciate that very much. All right, let's look at the live chat. Evelyn, how confident are you with the answer? Evelyn mentioned Jackie Rosen. Are you sure? Are you confident? Do you think it's the right answer? How about I give Evelyn another chance? Do you want to change your answer? Or you want to stay with the current answer? You said Jackie Rosen. Are you sure? If you're confident, tell me. And if you think, oh no, I'm going to change the answer, you can go ahead and do it right now. That's right, Evelyn. You are correct. Congratulations. It was Senator Jackie Rosen from Nevada. And listen, this is interesting. And so we got our friend Evelyn from Nevada. Anyone else from Nevada here? Anyone else? Is there anyone else from Nevada watching this? Because it's very interesting that both the United States senators from Nevada voted to reopen the government. So 2 states stand out. One is New Hampshire, one is Nevada. Both U.S. senators from New Hampshire voted to reopen the government, both Democrats, and both senators from the state of Nevada voted to reopen the government. It's an interesting pattern. On one side of the country, you got New Hampshire, and then you got Nevada on the other side of the country. But both states, between the 2 states, there were 4 votes in favor of reopening the government. Between the 2 states. By the way, Senator Jackie Rosen also won re-election in 2024. So she is not up for re-election in 2026. And these are the 8 U.S. senators from the Democrat caucus who voted to reopen the government. Any thoughts on that, my friends? 8 U.S. senators, 2 from New Hampshire, 2 from Nevada. And we got to 60 votes. We got to 60 votes. Oh, Evelyn saying you're welcome from Nevada. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you. By the way, anyone here from New Hampshire? Anyone here from Maine? Anyone here from Pennsylvania? I want to get your thoughts. Evelyn says it's too cold up there. Yeah, too cold in Maine, right? Too cold in Maine, too cold in New Hampshire, also in Pennsylvania, perhaps. All right. Now, at the very start of the live stream, did I not talk about a civil war within the Democrat Party? My friends, 8 senators from the Democrat caucus voted with the Republicans to get to 60 votes to reopen the government. And the Democrat Party is not happy with these 8 senators. What did you think was going to happen? What would the Democrats' response be? The Democrat Party, the party machine, is not happy with these 8 senators. Congressman Ro Khanna, actually, that's how it's pronounced. Ro Khanna. He's asking for Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to be replaced. That's right. But then you're going to ask the question, Tausif, Schumer did not vote for the bill to reopen the government. So why is Congressman Ro Khanna asking for Senator Chuck Schumer to be replaced? What is going on? Well, I guess Senator Chuck Schumer is just being blamed for not being able to, make the shutdown go longer. I guess that's what's going on. I guess like as the leader of the Democrats in the Senate, I think the responsibility was on Chuck Schumer to ensure that we can get to 60 votes. And then we did get to 60 votes. And so I think now many Democrats are not happy with Chuck Schumer. Doesn't matter how Chuck Schumer voted. I mean, he did not vote yes. He voted to continue with the shutdown. But still, the fact that 8 members of his caucus voted with the Republicans, I guess that's being viewed as Chuck Schumer's failure in leadership, and that's why Congressman Ro Khanna is asking for Chuck Schumer to be replaced. And then there's Senator Chris Murphy. Who knows where Chris Murphy is from? Can you tell me where Chris Murphy is from? What state? Go ahead. Tell me what state Chris Murphy is from. Make a guess. And I'll tell you what Chris Murphy is saying. Senator Chris Murphy, he's a Democrat from Connecticut. He's saying that this will now embolden Trump. What does he mean? Embolden Trump. I mean, basically what Chris Murphy is trying to say, that the fact that the Republicans won, that the Democrats had to agree with the Republicans to vote to reopen the government, Chris Murphy is seriously against this. So he's just saying he's trying to put blame on these Democrat senators who voted with the Republicans, and he's saying now this is now going to embolden Trump. And Murphy is saying that things will likely get worse. What exactly does he mean? Things will likely get worse. Why would things get worse? Why? When we reopen the government, when the government's functioning, when the air traffic controllers are working, when the TSA agents are working and getting paid, when our military service members are getting paid for their service, when the government is up and running, how can things get worse? I don't understand this. The federal government performs very important actions. Now, as a conservative, I want a small and efficient government. I want limited government. I don't want a massive federal bureaucracy. I want a federal bureaucracy that is efficient, that is limited in size, but it doesn't mean that anyone would want the government to shut down. We need government. We don't need a big and bloated government. We need a small and efficient government, but yes, we need a government. But if the government shut down, that's a huge problem. So I don't understand what Senator Chris Murphy means when he says that things will likely get worse. I mean, this is what he said. He said, I want to make sure you know what's happening right now as the Senate votes to reopen the government. The CR is a mistake. It will make things worse, not better. But we need to keep the fight going. This is his quote. This is a quote from Chris Murphy. I don't understand what he means. Things are not going to get worse if you reopen the government. Things will actually get better. But I get it. I completely understand that Chris Murphy is not happy with the Democrats who voted for this bill. And that is why whatever Chris Murphy is saying, it's just a sign of his own frustration. I mean, these are people who wanted the government to be shut down for an even longer period of time. I mean, it's already the longest ever government shutdown in the history of the United States. How much longer do these Democrats want the shutdown to be? How much longer? 45 days, 50 days, 60 days? 3 months? What? This is not going to make things worse. This is going to make things better. If we reopen the government, things will get better. So I'm not sure what Chris Murphy means when he says it'll make things worse. And then Senator Elizabeth Warren. Who wants to talk about Elizabeth Warren? Elizabeth Warren. You want to talk about Elizabeth Warren? By the way, my friends, if you are here, if you're watching this, I would request you to please subscribe and stay connected. I appreciate that. If you please subscribe, it's important. That's how this channel grows. So please subscribe, like the video, share the video, and I would appreciate that. Yeah, please go ahead and subscribe. That'd be great. Actually, let me do one thing. Let me do one thing. I think this is going to be quite essential. Something that I'm about to do right now. Give me a second. All right, I'm happy to be turning on the subscriber only mode. Okay, subscribe, stay subscribed for a minute, and then participate in the live chat. Okay. All right, my friends. So Senator Elizabeth Warren called this a terrible mistake. How in the world is this a terrible mistake? I don't understand that. A terrible mistake was when the Democrats shut down the government. When Schumer shut down the government, which is why it is called the Schumer shutdown, that was a terrible mistake. Not funding the government, not approving the CR, that was a terrible mistake. Shutting down the government was a terrible mistake. Seeing that air traffic controllers are suffering, TSA agents are suffering, military service members are suffering, so many federal workers suffering, many working but not getting paid, and many furloughed, and pushing the country towards that situation, that was a mistake. That was a terrible mistake. But voting to reopen the government, that can never be a terrible mistake. That is the right decision. That is the right course of action. Vote to reopen the government. And that is what these 8 senators from the Democrat caucus did. I mentioned the names, and I'll mention it again. The names. The names are Senator Catherine Cortez Masto from Nevada, Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, John Fetterman, Maggie Hassan, Tim Kaine, Angus King, Jeanne Shaheen, Jackie Rosen. My friends, vote after vote after vote after vote, the Democrats voted to keep the government shut down, and finally 8 members from the Democrat caucus realized what a great mistake it was, and they voted to reopen the government. So it is not a terrible mistake. I don't know what Elizabeth Warren is thinking. What is she talking about? This is not a terrible mistake. This is finally the right step to reopen the government. And then Bernie Sanders, he said something. Do you know what he said? Do you know what Bernie Sanders said? He said, and I quote, "Last night, tragically, 8 Democrats caved, but the struggle continues," end quote. I don't get it. I don't get it. 8 Democrats caved? No, 8 Democrats did the right thing by voting to reopen the government. They took the right action to reopen the government. So, my friends, you see there's really a civil war brewing within the Democrat Party, and that is what I was talking about at the very beginning of this live stream, that there's a civil war brewing within the Democrat Party, and I just have to say all these things that I said in the last 40 minutes just to help you understand why I'm saying that there's a civil war brewing. The Democrat Party does not allow independent thinking. It doesn't allow independent thinking. You got to listen to the party machine or you're out of the team. And that is what is going on. I mean, you can see Chris Murphy, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Ro Khanna, they are all against this move to reopen the government. I don't know how the Democrat Party functions. It's almost like whatever the party elites tell, everyone has to follow that. And if somebody thinks independently and says, you know what, I'm not going to listen to the party, I'm going to do what I feel is right, and it is the right time, it is the right decision, it's way overdue, but let's do it right now, let's reopen the government, let's vote in favor of reopening the government. So I don't understand why the Democrat Party has a problem with that. So I guess what's going to happen going forward is that the far left will keep blaming these 8 senators from the Democrat caucus who voted to reopen the government. They'll just keep blaming. Democrats will blame Democrats. Because 8 senators from the Democrat caucus voted to reopen the government. Sharice is saying, please read your comments, Tassif. Yeah, I'm reading the comments. I'm reading, thank you. When I'm talking, it's just hard to read. So yeah. No, I'm trying my best to read the comments. Thank you. Okay. So my friends, I don't know what's going to happen going forward, but I don't know if the far left will decide to primary these senators. But as I said, I mentioned name by name of folks who are not up for re-election in 2026. And I talked about, for example, Senator Shaheen and Senator Durbin deciding not to seek re-election. So, if the far left thinks that anyone who does not follow the far left's demands will face a primary, a Democrat primary. Well, in the case of Dick Durbin, it doesn't apply. In the case of Jeanne Shaheen, it doesn't apply because they are not running for re-election anyway. So anyway, my friends, I guess there really is a civil war. I think within the Democrat Party, I think going forward over the next few days and weeks, you're going to, if you pay attention, you're going to see a lot of criticism that will be thrown towards these senators who voted with the Republicans to help us get to 60 votes. Their own party members are not going to be happy with them, which is pretty obvious. But I am glad that we finally got to 60 votes. But obviously, it's a slightly different bill. That is why it has to now go back to the House, and the House has to vote on it. So, my friends, that's pretty much all I have. And yeah, there was a civil war within the Democrat Party. So, do you have any questions for me? Anything? I think whatever I had to say, I did. Started this live stream really late after a very busy day, so I apologize for that. I wish I could do a longer live stream, but I really have to wrap it up today. All right, my friends. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you all. Let's just keep our eyes and ears open. Please pay attention to whatever is happening in Congress, in Washington, and we don't know when exactly the government will reopen. As I said, I think the bill may be voted on in the House on Wednesday. How long is the process going to take? Is it going to be Wednesday? Is it going to be later? I don't know, but this week is going to be very, very important. This government shutdown already is the longest government shutdown in US history. How much longer do we have to wait? Hopefully the government will reopen soon. So that's all I have, my friends. I'm going to end this live stream here a little early. I know we're just at the 47-minute time mark, not even an hour. But I just had a very busy and long day, so I'm going to wrap this up. But I will be back again with more videos and more live streams. So please stay connected with me, my friends. Remember, my friends, we are together. We are going to make America great again. So may God bless you all. May God bless President Donald J. Trump. May God bless the Trump administration. May God bless the Republicans in Washington. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless our U.S. allies. And may God bless freedom-loving people all over the world. Thank you, my friends. Stay connected with me. Subscribe if you have not done so already. And I'm going to be back again very soon. Have a wonderful night, my friends. Take care, and I'll be back soon. Thank you.